This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to yet another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, October the 2nd, in the year 1988, not one but two major boxing bouts at the Seoul 1988 Olympics happened. Everyone knows about the one famous one. If you think boxing in 1988, you're going to be thinking about a certain boxer. But don't worry, we'll get to him later. But first half of the doubleheader is the big story. In 1988, Canada's boxing prowess at the Olympics wasn't really that big. We did win a few silvers in 1984, but in 1988, Lennox Lewis came in out of freaking nowhere to do well. So there were 17 boxers in the super heavyweight division. A super heavyweight was defined as someone who was more than 91 kilograms, or to put it bluntly, 200 pounds. 17. So there was a huge moment. Teofilo Stevenson, who was a 3-time Olympic champion at this weight, never retired. But with Teofilo not competing because of Cuba boycotting the games, he was 36 years old. It was amazing. It happened. So anyway, the Canadian boxer Lennox Lewis took care of Chris Odera of Kenya by referee stoppage. In the meantime, the American Riddick Bowe faced the Austrian Bodo Mungo and KO'd him. So in the quarterfinals, Lennox Lewis took down the East German Uli Tadin by referee stoppage. Riddick Bowe also did a referee stoppage against the Czech Peter Herfnack. In the semifinals, Jarnos Sorokias of Poland couldn't fight, so it was an easy win for Lennox Lewis. Whereas Riddick Bowe had to fight the Russian Marashenko and beat him 5-0 in the judges' thing. So in the final, it was Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe, both future world champions and all that. It was amazing seeing the YouTube highlights of Riddick Bowe. You know, they say Brooklyn, New York, and Lennox Lewis, who Marv Albert said, the man from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. So it was amazing to see a fighter from Kitchener, Ontario get to the Olympics in one thing, but to beat Riddick Bowe. Bowe was effective in the first round, doing better in the punches percentage. However, Bowe got a couple of cautions for headbutts. Commentator Freddie Pacheco said that they did not hit heads. The East German referee was not really too pleased with everything. However, in the second round, Lennox Lewis took punching to a whole new level, hardly hitting hard blows with Riddick Bowe. Bowe was given 2 standing 8 counts, and the referee waved the fight off. It looked like Bowe was going to continue, but I think in a way, I think Lennox Lewis probably would have won on referee's decision. But anyway, Pacheco was not happy with this fight. However, Marv Albert said that Bowe took a pounding, and it was just hard to believe. But yeah, Lennox was the second Olympic boxing champion in the super heavyweight, as in over 91 kilograms. Tyrell Biggs was the first. Also huge was Wladimir Klitschko from Ukraine, Audley Harrison of Great Britain, and Anthony Joshua from Great Britain would win these events. The current champion in super heavyweight is Bakhaldor Dalilov of Uzbekistan. So yeah, a lot of people were not too happy with Bowe losing to Lennox Lewis. And you know, they both were future world champions. Riddick Bowe had a belt in 1992, but refused to do the WBC belt. So he threw it in the trash for some strange reason. And then Lennox Lewis was given that belt. Well, This was huge and all that. But that was not the biggest boxing match of this day. As good as it is for Canada to have an Olympic gold medal boxer, the other match is, yes, this one. You can see it. Roy Jones Jr. was rumbling and stumbling and all that. He got to the men's light middleweight with 36 boxers from 36 nations competing. And Roy Jones Jr. was 19 years old. And he was fantastic. There were some preliminary round matches. Canada had someone in the first round, preliminary round, and it was Ray Downing, who beat Jorge Lopez of Argentina 5-0 on judges' votes. Roy Jones Jr. first faced the Malawian Matandre Makalamba, KO'd him. Boom. Big win. Meanwhile, the Korean favorite Park Si-hun took down the Sudan's Abdullah Ramadan, kind of by his name, if you will, by referee stoppage. The Canadian Downing beat the West German, Norbert Naroba 3-2. So close call. So it was on to the round of 16. Roy Jones Jr. took on the Czech Michal Franek and beat him 5-0. Park took care of the East German Torsten Schmitz 5-0, and the Canadian Ray Downing took down Pakistan's Abar Hussain 5-0. Quarterfinals time. And Roy Jones Jr. defeated the Russian Evgeny Zaitsev 5-0. Park Si-hun won a close decision against the Italian Vincenzo Nadio, winning 3-2. Kind of a little awkward, don't you think? And then Ray Downing shocked everyone by taking down the Swede Martin Kidal. So Downing went from the first round, having to go through qualifying, and got to the semifinals. That's pretty impressive, don't you think? Unfortunately, Downing would suffer being taken out 5-0 by Park Si-hun. Roy Jones Jr. took down the Great Britain boxer Richard Woodhall 5-0. So Canada got a bronze. No big deal. I'll take that for whatever it is. And all that. Then came the final. Roy Jones Jr. looked pretty good and all that. And so the final was between Roy Jones and Park Si-hun. And Park took it to Park. He landed 86 punches to Park's 32. It was amazing and all that. So it looked pretty good. Roy Jones Jr. was going to give America the gold medal after Riddick Bowe fumbled it. But that's not what happens sometimes. Park Si-hun won 3-2 judges' decision. And it was amazing. Even though Park had actually had a standing 8 count against them. Everyone in Korea was happy. I believe when I watched this back with the British commentators, that they said, I think there's something fishy because I think the Koreans are jumping up and down and all of that. And I may have to excuse myself if that's wrong. But no, it was a shock. Park Si-hun won. However, he did apologize to Jones afterwards. And the Italian referee Aldo Leone said to Jones that he was dumbstruck by the judge's decision, saying that, I can't believe they're doing this to you. And one judge actually said that the decision was a giant mistake, and all 3 judges who voted against Jones were suspended. Marv Albert and Freddie Pacheco were really upset with that one. So, anyway, rumors were circulating that this was basically among major lines and all that. Simply put, they thought something looked fishy and all that. There were 5 judges. Morocco, Uruguay, Uganda, Hungary, and the Soviet Union were there. it was kind of biased, with the communist countries, Hungary and Soviet Union, wanting to vote against America. They didn't really like Korea either, South Korea. But, anything to fuck the Americans over. So, yeah. So, two judges from communist countries, and then, Morocco and Uruguay um, did that to help park out. So, anyway, yeah, that was huge about Morocco and Uruguay. And then Uganda scored the bout as a draw, saying that the outcome would have to be decided on other criteria. It was shocking. I mean, for the Americans to lose a gold medal with Rick Bowe being taken out, kind of controversial, but that was nothing compared to Roy Jones Jr., who later became a champion with multiple weight classes. There was an IFC investigation in 1997. It found that although the offending judges had been widely denied by South Korean organizers, there was no evidence of corruption in boxing in Seoul. Shocker. However, strange as it was, Roy Jones Jr. was actually given the Val Barker Trophy for the best stylistic boxer of the Olympics, which was the last time that award did not go to a gold medal winner. However, the good news was that it actually helped Olympic boxing matches later on, because now they put it on a scoring system based on pushing a button and all that, and scoring like points, not by judges scoring and all that. There were rumors circulating that East Germany's Stasi secret police revealed reports of judges being paid to vote for South Korean boxers. East Germany ended up taking second place on the medal table ahead of the U.S. by one gold medal, which was weird. It's like East Germany was the last hurrah over the Americans. Quelle surprise. So anyway, now there is a little bit of a background story, more so than you think. In 1984, a famous Korean middleweight had been denied a gold medal by an American referee, I do believe. So logically, Korea was upset over the fact they had denied a gold medal in the United States. So I guess in a sense, when the Americans came to South Korea for the '88 Olympics, they were going to do the same thing. And poor Roy Jones Jr. was the victim of it. It was basically just sour grapes and all that. Korea got ticked off in 2002 when their famous speed skater lost the gold medal because of, despite blatant interference, that they thought that the American judges were voting against the Korean and giving the American polo Anton Ono a gold medal. That was when Korea scored that famous tying goal against the Americans, and the guy Won Han On famously did a celebration where he treated himself like a speed skater, getting back at the Americans for what they did at the Salt Lake Olympics. So there were a couple of Korean boxers who sat down in protest. One even lasted 70 minutes, which was amazing. Like, you go 70 minutes and you don't get interrupted. Yeah, Korea must have been bitter over what the Americans did, robbing them at the '84 Olympics. You can kind of guess it was coming. But the simple fact is that the decision did not ruin Roy Jones Jr. at all. He still became a legend. Park Sing-hung didn't do much in the world of boxing. So, in effect, it actually worked out for Roy Jones Jr. He won by losing. That's the way it goes. But, I have sympathies towards Roy Jones Jr. being robbed, but not towards Riddick Bowe. That's the way it goes. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.